Do you constantly think about food? Are you planning your next meal while you're still eating? You may be an emotional eater. Dr. Karen Gordon and Dr. Joey Shulman are here. Thanks so much for coming in. I'm thinking this is a big problem.
Big problem. I think most of us would actually admit to some degree we are an emotional eater. But you did a survey, right?
We did a survey, and this is a survey that we do at our clinic. So we see about 300 people a week at the clinic, and I would say about 85% of them have a degree of emotional eating. And that's not a bad thing. That's just a thing. We just have to perfect the dance with food. So happy, bored, sad, lonely. Happens at night usually. We all start our day off well, only to finish it not so well, because that's when stress hits. And we use food to soothe. It's very normal.
And you also had a chance to talk to some of our audience members about what they felt about eating, emotional eating.
Right, and I believe Robin here in our studio audience, mother of 2 children, that she admitted that she actually struggles with emotional eating. And I think it's just really good to kind of clarify with what exactly it is, because I think a lot of times people hear that kind of buzzword, but it's when we have an emotional need, exactly with what Joey was saying. We have some kind of emotional need, whether it's angry, stress, loneliness, and we use food to fill it. So it could be kind of an unpleasant emotion like angry or sad, but it could also be something that we're excited, we're passionate, we want to celebrate, and we also use food to kind of fill it as well.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but Robin is one of our Cityline viewers who wrote into us to tell us about her issues with emotional eating. So we produced a little story on her, so please take a look.
But this guy. But this guy.
What's hurting?
My name is Robin. I'm a mother of a 5-month-old and a 4.5-year-old, and I am an emotional eater. I have a horrible problem with eating and what to eat and when to eat and how much to eat. I am definitely a chocolate person, definitely a sweet person. I will bake a cake and eat the entire thing. I will go for chips because I'm not really picky, but I typically go for sugar. I consider myself an emotional eater because I have been on every diet under the sun. I know exactly what I need to do in order to lose the weight. I just can't seem to do it. You know, I get stressed, I get upset, I'm happy, it doesn't matter. I eat something or I eat the wrong things. I'll start a diet, you know, every Monday morning, and I'll do great Monday. I'll do okay on Tuesday. By Wednesday, I'm already setting another diet for the following Monday. It's a roller coaster that I need to get off of.
And Robin's here with me with her adorable son, 5-month-old Jacob. Do you think you've always been an emotional eater, or has this sort of been triggered by something specifically?
No, I've definitely always struggled with my weight. As a child, I think I ate when I was sad. You know, I'd always hoard the food and hide the food and eat it when no one was looking and that kind of thing. Into my adulthood, I think it's the stress that causes me to eat more so than sadness or loneliness at this time. I mean, being a mother of 2, it's very stressful, and I have a very stressful job, and it's difficult to always eat the right things or get what I get something out of food, and I don't know what it is, and that's what I need to figure out, is what do I get out of food that helps relieve the stress.
And I guess too, though, when you're just coming off a pregnancy, I mean, you just had a baby 5 months ago, you already sort of have that issue of weight, of losing baby weight, and so it's compounding everything, right? I mean, you feel more pressure.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's very difficult, you know, and then the more I think about losing the weight, the more stressed I get, the more I eat, and it just compounds, and you know, every failed diet just makes me more stressed, and you know, I'm trying to lose it before I get back to work, and it's just that the stress is just driving me to eat more and more. So,
well, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us about it. And I guess that is one of the, we'll go back to our experts over here. I mean, it does become a vicious cycle where you're constantly trying to make up for something that you in your head did bad the day before.
Yeah, absolutely does. And the best advice I have on this one is, we have so many emotional eaters, and before we deal with the emotional eating, and I'm sure Dr. Karen will talk about that, there's a why behind the emotional eating. The best thing to do is stop dieting and get over the sugar addiction. And so what we say to our clients at Shulman Weight Loss is, here's what you do. Here are your free foods. You can have frozen red grapes. You can have as many carrots as you want. You can have as many cherry tomatoes. Because when you're in the throes of a sugar addiction and your body's craving serotonin to feel better, and your levels of cortisol, your stress hormone, are heightened, you don't have a shot. So the first thing we have to do is 5 clean days. And after 5 clean days, then we can go into your why, which I'm sure Dr. Karen will talk about. why are you eating? Why are you self-soothing with food? Which is very common, so don't beat yourself up about it. But let's break the sugar addiction first, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And the other thing I want to say is that when we're talking about emotional eating, like food is there to give us energy for our body. But like a lot of us, as like Joey is saying, we use food for something different. So all of a sudden what food is meant for, we're not using it for the right purpose, right? And as you said, that you feel, so it was interesting listening to your story that earlier it was sadness, that was the emotion that would actually kind of drive it, but then now it's actually turned to stress. And so we're going to see that a lot of times through different life stages that the need will actually change itself, but you're still using food as kind of the solution to it. The other thing I really want to say too is when we think about food, all of us have a relationship with food. I mean, it's kind of funny to think about it, that we have a relationship with our husbands and our wives and our kids. We actually also have a relationship with food. And so with people who are emotional eaters, they have what I would call a dysfunctional relationship with food.
It takes on an importance that maybe it shouldn't, and you're looking to it for things that it shouldn't provide.
Right.
But is it a woman thing as well, far more than a guy? I mean, we don't talk about guys saying, "Oh, I'm an emotional eater," do we?
I've had clients that are definitely male. I mean, you would have it more than I do, but I would definitely have clients that are male. But I think it comes at more in alcohol for the clients that I have.
Agreed.
Than
I think
actually
it is more of a women. I agree completely. It's more of a women's issue, and I mean, look at the most successful woman in the world, Oprah. She's an admitted emotional eater. But you can change. But it's not an overnighter. This is a shift. And this is going to take a little bit of work. Get clean with sugar, food journal. You can do this. I'm telling you. And you have to stop dieting. That's the first thing you have to do. You have to stop dieting.
So there's kind of like those two parts. There's the emotional part of it, and then there's the nutritional part of it. So you have to kind of fix both of them to actually see the change. But I would be curious, and this is kind of a good thing for people to ask themselves. Food. Okay, so finish this sentence. Okay, let me ask you. Food is my what? What would you actually say?
I would say friend, because I would say friend.
Really?
Yeah. I love to eat. I don't feel I haven't had, but I've been fortunate enough to have issues with losing or losing weight, and I think that's where the trigger sort of comes in for where you start to get an unhealthy relationship, because you see it as an enemy, which it sounds like, you know, Robin, you were saying food does become the enemy when you're trying to lose it.
Right. So for a lot of people that are struggling with this, when I ask them that question, usually they'll say, so a dysfunctional relationship would be like, food is my...
Stop. Okay. Let's do a little test over here.
All right. Okay.
Food is my... Let me just scoot over here for a second. Food is my... Finish the sentence.
I would have to say friend as well.
We've got another friend.
Okay.
Food is my...
Friend.
You guys really? Food is my...
Friend.
Is that atypical, or
is atypical? And I think that some people don't even realize they're emotionally eating. I can say I've lost 75 pounds twice, right? I can say I use food at night if I'm stressed, or if I have a deadline, or if my editor says you're 5 days late. Boom, serotonin, cookies, cereal. And we have women who have 15, 20 pounds to lose just from eating the wrong foods at night. And as Robin was saying, the worse it gets, the more you crave, the more you beat yourself up with food, and it's this vicious cycle. So to a certain degree, I think, I mean, we polled the audience, and 85% came back as emotional eating to a certain degree. So.
So this is a bit atypical, the three who sort of said friend.
So you're the three.
You are the three. But I would say for somebody who has more borderline emotional eating, dysfunctional relationship, I would say food is my friend, it's my comfort, it's my stress reliever, it's my bully. I've heard that people using that before. It's my enemy. So it's kind of like that. And so all of those kind of emotional things, and that's the need that it's actually filling. It's funny because I would actually say, for me, I would say food is my energy. Like, food is my source of, like, I know, and Donna's laughing. Donna's laughing because we were talking about this earlier.
That's such a healthy thing to say.
But you know what, I've just, you know, I come from a family, my sister's diabetic, and I think that this might have something to do with, my sister's diabetic, so food was very monitored in our family. So I didn't get like so super excited about food, but I think it has a lot to do culturally. We haven't even talked about that. But culturally, some families, food is a very big focus in terms of for families. It's, in terms like all the meals, all the prep, all the socializing, and how food becomes very much a central part for a lot of families.
And we can talk about that culturally as well as just so where this all begins and how we can break that pattern of emotional eating. More Cityline coming up. Too cute, too cute. Welcome back to Cityline. We've been talking about emotional eating, and now we have some real tips on how you can develop a great menu, and when you are eating, eat healthily.
Right, exactly. So these are mini meals. So Robin, this is for you too. We're going to do mini meals. And in today's heat, we don't want to eat too much because it's just too heavy. So these are quick. These are for moms who have 2 kids. These are easy. So I'm going to start off with some lentil dill sliders. Now I love these because instead of having the red meat, these are nice and light. They're so easy to make. make. We'll put the recipe online. All I've really done, Avery, is take lentils, onions, a bit of egg, breadcrumbs, and dill, mash them up, gently saute them, and we're done. Now,
and they look like, I mean, they really hold together well too. And sometimes the lentil stuff that you buy is a bit crumbly.
and the breadcrumbs and the egg, make sure that they hold together. And it's just a little bit of breadcrumbs if you're wanting to go low carb. So the nutrition on them is amazing. They're under 200 calories, so they're terrific. So all we're going to do here is that I'm just going to, I mean, this is so simple. We're going to take some plain yogurt, and I've just chopped dill. And you just mix and mix and mix. And we're going to have a nice mix, and I'm going to use that instead of a mustard on the bun. So literally, use your fresh herbs as much as you possibly can. If you like, do you like dill?
Love it.
I love dill
it,
too.
yeah,
I love dill.
You could do it with coriander too.
You could do it with coriander if you like coriander. And there we go, guys. I mean, and then you can put that on the burger, and you can serve these as appetizers. Sliders can be found, these little buns. They're very cute. You can make your own buns if you want. You can make whole wheat buns, but I mean, who has time?
I hear a bit of a groan. It may be coming from me, but yeah, okay.
It's never going to happen. Just buy them. I bought these at Ace Bakery. You can just buy them. So this is a great mini meal. You can have one or two. You can have them as a meal with a side salad, or you can have them as a snack, and they're great. And along with emotional eating, what we want to keep focusing on is eating till you're sufficiently sufficed, not stuffed, not eating until your pants are actually feeling too tight.
And what do they say? You're supposed to stop before you start feeling any kind of fullness, right? And then give it a break and see how you're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Put a dot on your hand every time you eat a meal. Every time you look at that dot, you say, how do I feel? Do I feel full? Do I feel okay? Am I really hungry, or am I eating because I'm bored, sad, lonely? So moving on, we have a nice yogurt parfait, which is another mini meal. So this, I mean, people who say to me, Joey, I don't have time for breakfast, there's no such thing as I don't have time for breakfast. So you can take plain yogurt, you can take Greek yogurt. This takes 2 minutes at home. If you want to go Greek yogurt, you're going to go higher in protein, almost twice the amount of protein. Put some fresh berries on top. You can put grapes on top. You can put fresh berries on top. A little bit of granola. Guys, we are under 250 calories right there.
See, I thought granola was really high in fat.
Well, some granola is. This is granola that we got that is low sugar, low fat. But here's a take-home point. Fat doesn't make you fat. Fat never makes you fat. Sugars are what put weight on people. So don't be scared of fat. We want good fat into our diet.
It's funny how we've gone through those cycles of everybody hating fat and then everybody hating carbs, and the realization, I think Robin was alluding to it before earlier as well, let's just eat and not get all caught up in, you know, whether it's fat, whether it's carbs, but just eat a little bit of everything.
Watch out for the shticks. You know what I mean by the shticks? Yeah. Watch out for the diet shticks. If there was a magic bullet, I would give it to you. There's no such thing as a magic bullet. There's such thing as healthy eating. Yeah. So moving on here we have just a nice light spinach salad with goat's cheese and some red peppers. Now, you want to have some quinoa to fill you up a little bit. You don't need to have too much. I just literally dump quinoa on my salad. And quinoa is the only grain that's a complete protein. I put a little balsamic vinaigrette on top.
Now, do you buy that already? You just have to soak that, right? It's a simple thing, the quinoa to make?
It is a simple thing, and you make it just like you do rice. So it's 2 cups of water to 1 cup of quinoa. You boil it on medium for 12 minutes, and you're done, and you can keep it in your fridge. But the game changer with quinoa is to cook it with vegetable broth. It makes it taste so delicious. You can do vegetable or chicken broth and then keep it in your fridge. And this grain has every amino acid in it, so it's a complete protein. It's really yummy.
And it's not heavy like rice. It doesn't feel like you're eating rice or bread, the quinoa. And because it is a complete protein, that is essentially like eating meat.
Exactly. And if you are vegetarian or if your kids are vegetarian, I feel so happy when my 2.5-year-old starts eating her quinoa. It's terrific.
My 15-year-old will eat quinoa. I mean,
wow.
That's kind of amazing too, right?
That is pretty amazing, actually. The last thing we have is just I've taken a whole pita, a whole grain pita, and I've cut it in 4. If you eat a whole pita, sometimes it's just too much bread. You don't need that much bread. You can have one of these little turkey pockets with a side salad. You can have 2 of them. You can put them out for your guests. They can be appetizers, or they can be the perfect mini meal. So eat until you're about 80% full, exactly what you're saying, then stop for a second, go, do I really need to clean my plate? You know, my mom and dad, we were always taught to clean our plate, but just take a little bit of time, breathe through your meal, and see if you're actually hungry, if you're eating. I
think one of the problems too is, and when we're talking about emotional eating, you tend to grab the first thing that sort of is by your table, right? I mean, whatever it is, and then you just don't stop. So if there's chips, what you have in the house is what you put into your body.
Exactly.
And if you have simple things like these to make, will that be the thing, if you're an emotional eater, that you would go to?
It is, and that's what we were talking about in the other segment with Dr. Karen, is you want to load up your fridge with free foods. So before dinner, I lose a lot of people. Cheese, crackers, they're so starving, they're preparing things. before they know it, before dinner, they've knocked off 500 calories. So I say, I don't care if you eat a bag of baby carrots. I don't care if you eat a bag of cherry tomatoes. I don't care if you eat a bag of red peppers. Make sure that your fridge is filled with free foods.
And do you then have to relook at what's in your fridge and in your cupboards?
Oh, for sure.
It's where to start, really, right? As you're kind of going through the process of why you're eating what you're eating, you need to also do that.
You have to do a kitchen audit. You have to go through your kitchen and do a kitchen audit and get clean first, because if it's there and you're in the throes of an emotional event or you're still bouncing around your blood sugars, there's a difference between I want a cookie versus I'm going to kill somebody for a cookie. And I can't talk to you when you're going to kill somebody for a cookie, so we got to get clean first.
All right, more Cityline coming up. That's true, right? I mean, I just don't buy this stuff.